Hey, this is Kris with ROI Asset and Property Management, and we're going to talk about real estate investing today.
So, Kris, talk to us about Jake and Gino.
Jake and Gino. So I'm on the number 2 green here at Blue Lakes Country Club almost a year and a half ago with Senate Eskridge. And we were talking about our current properties and how they were performing because we had a number of burrs that we had done. And he looks at me and he goes, Kris, I want to buy apartment complexes. And I'm like, wait, what? We're doing so well. Like, why would we change this plan? You know, we have 6 rentals. We're getting ready on the 7th. Like, what are you talking about? And he goes, well, I want to sell all the properties and I want to go buy apartment complexes. Okay, well, we don't know anything about apartment complexes. How are we going to do this? And he goes, well, we're going to join Jake and Gino. And I'm like, isn't that the thing that the Cohen brothers joined? And he goes, yeah. Okay, well, let's talk about it. So we talked about it and made the decision that as a partnership, we're going to join Jake and Gino and learn more about multifamily real estate. And just like when I first got into real estate, I had to get out of my comfort zone because I had to go around like-minded individuals and talk about a plethora of stuff that I knew nothing about. So a couple weeks later, we went to Knoxville, Tennessee, and sat down with a bunch of like-minded individuals and socialized and networked for 3 days. It was an amazing experience. It was a life-changing experience. I've met many, many new friends and acquaintances through that. And little did I know, 18 months later, I'd be leaving my W-2 job to go into property and asset management for my own. So Jake and Gino are 2 individuals that left their W-2 job to do apartment buying, and they vertically integrated in Knoxville, Tennessee into, I don't even know how many doors they have, but the community itself is on the high end of 20,000+ units as a community in apartment complexes, whether it's investing and being on the LP side, raising money, finding the deals, the acquisition side, asset management, property management, contract management. They're all over the place. And we all meet every Monday to go through a class about a random topic that we need to learn about when it comes to real estate. Just yesterday, we were in with Jake and Gino's property manager, and she was talking about her performa on several of their properties and what she does. And, even if you're in the industry for 18 months, 3 years, etc., you can always learn something new from another individual. So it's something where we go to a meetup every 2 to 3 months, meet with like-minded individuals, learn from those like-minded individuals, and find new ways to create value on our properties.
And talk to us about the future of mentorship.
The future of mentorship. So, when we're born, we know nothing. And as we grow, we learn, but we realize that we know less than nothing. And what I mean by that is with all the information that we acquire through the 38 and a half years I've been alive, the more I learn that I don't know much at all. And understanding those blind spots is super important because no one individual can know everything, obviously. That's why we hire like-minded individuals that know something that we don't know, or we surround ourselves by those individuals. So for me, I like to share my knowledge and my experiences, sometimes too much. So I have an accountability pod that I go into where I learn from like-minded individuals and I help teach like-minded individuals about asset management. And it's been very, very successful. I've met some lifelong friends in that accountability pod. But above and beyond that, it's about teaching friends. It's not about asking for money. We're not in it to go out. I mean, let's be perfectly honest. We can find money in all sorts of places. We really don't need any one individual person's money. It's about teaching them what we're doing and how to make their lives better. I have a friend that I talk to every other week about, hey, when are we going to go get you a HELOC and make you some money so you don't have to go to your job every day? And he goes, yeah, I know. And I'll leave his name out of it just for his sake, but he knows who he is. And it's not about me getting his money and going making me money. It's about teaching him how to free himself from the shackles of a W-2 job and invest in himself, because that's ultimately what this is about. It's being free from that W-2 job and being able to go and invest more knowledge into yourself so you can grow as an individual and subsequently mentor other people to grow as well. And when I was at Pizza Hut, I was a delivery driver, and I didn't want anything to do with being a supervisor or manager because I don't want to babysit adults. But then I moved into IT, and between C3 Everise and Glambia, as I helped develop individuals into bigger and better roles, I discovered that I really, really enjoy both growing individuals and myself growing, because if you help individuals grow, you'll get payback on the backside. And I really, really enjoy sitting down with an individual and talking about my experiences to help them grow and help them develop, because ultimately, that's your network of people and network of friends. And if you grow them, they will grow you. Surround yourself with like-minded individuals.
So tell us about your biggest win and what you learned from it.
So there's both the financial wins and then there's the personal wins. Personally, I found the right partner. I didn't get married until I was halfway through my 20s. But I found the right individual that supported me and kind of fit my habits. And my wife is a wonderful individual. She works hard. She loves me dearly, and I love her dearly. And she gave me some pretty amazing kids, let's be honest. So me and her have a great communication structure where we talk about everything every day. Every night before bed, we talk about what's on our calendars. We talk about our frustrations, and we have a rule: we just don't go to bed angry. If we're upset with each other, we talk it out and we work through it, and then we go to bed. And just finding that individual that's both able to put up with me, because I can be a bit obnoxious, and, travel on that path with me is so very critical in life. Financially, a lot of people don't like the call center industry because it is a very, very hot environment in the sense of there's a lot of churn. But I had some really amazing mentors that helped me grow as an individual and learn. C3 Everise it's an interesting place to work, and there's quite a few people in the community that have worked there. And it is very fast-paced, and you can burn out very, very easily. Fortunately, I was on the IT team there, where I grew from being a technician, and actually technically being a temp, and then a technician, and then the IT manager, and then a technical account manager. And that's where I learned some of my skills. And I had some pretty amazing mentors there, like Michael Stevens and Jeff Barocas and Senate Eskridge, etc. So it was pretty exciting to grow up in there. And yeah, I spent 8 years there. And yeah, sometimes it sucked. But the reality is the level of knowledge that I pulled out of that organization, growing up through those various roles, has helped me be where I'm at today. From the IT management side, where I got to learn how to hire individuals and got an opportunity I wouldn't otherwise get at an organization, to the technical account management side, where I managed vendors and managed partners and helped them get their solutions taken care of. So I would say wouldn't even know if I'd call it financially, but just knowledge-wise, having that knowledge in IT that I can translate directly into real estate in the asset management and property management sides.
If you're looking at a year from today, so we're sitting in the same spot in 2023, what would be the best thing that have happened to you this whole year?
Finding some pretty amazing employees to work with. I am so excited for the opportunity to get to hire people to join my team, and I get to pick them myself, and I get to grow them as individuals. And the reality is I don't want someone with property management experience per se. I want someone that has amazing customer experience, customer service skills. I want them to be able to treat our customers and owners at a level that no other property management team can compete with. And I'll teach them what I have in my various skills, and we'll teach each other because it's a new organization. But I'm super excited about the ability to onboard team members and grow those team members. And once again, just to develop individuals into their future self.
Tell us about the hardest lesson you've ever had to learn.
There's so many out there. probably the hardest thing that's been for me is when I first met my wife. I inherited a son, and I want to make it perfectly clear, he's my son. He was 4 years old when I met him, and the first day I met him, he called me dad, and that scared the crap out of me. And there's nothing like being a parent to learn hard lessons from. Being 4 years old and being raised by, his grandma and his dad and his mom, he was a very unique individual, and he kind of had his unique way of doing things, which was different from mine. And there were times where we had absolute fun, but there was times we banged heads too. So that was a hard lesson, being a dad that quickly when I wasn't expecting it, and having to learn to kind of get out of my ego and be a dad and not be that, bull in a china shop, that kid was being molded every day by my choices. And I kind of had to just settle down. And I know a lot of my friends and family kind of know when that moment happened, because there was just a massive change in my life where it's no longer about me, it's about my wife and my son.
Can you tell us how that has made you a better property manager and a better asset manager?
Yeah, so the transition from being single to married to having kids, it's really hard to explain to someone that hasn't had kids, just because your whole world changes. It's no longer about you. It's about that baby. And that's life-changing. So when you go to a property, it's kind of the same thing. It's not about you. It's not about winning an argument or, I made that tenant suffer. It's about taking care of that building, taking care of the people that are in that building, because ultimately, that's their home. And you want them to be proud of where they're at, because if they're proud there, they're happy there. Nobody should be sad about the place that they live. And so what my role in asset management and property management is make sure that property is lifted up and those tenants are taken care of. And to be perfectly honest, I give them my personal cell phone so they can call me if they have a problem, because to me, it's personal. I want them to make sure they know they have someone on their side that's going to go to bat for them and take care of their problems.
So on the flip side, we asked you what your greatest achievement was and what you've learned. What about your biggest fail and what you learned?
Once again, my biggest failure is probably to my oldest son. Because we butted heads, I was a little strong in my approach in the beginning of our relationship, and our relationship suffered from it. I've since learned from that and learned with my other children, where there was a 10-year gap, not to have such a heavy-handed approach. It's sad to say, but our relationship isn't as good as it could be. I'm hoping time we can fix that, but that's probably my biggest failure is I just wasn't the perfect father that everyone would expect you to be. We had a heavy-handed approach, and that wasn't the right fit for him. And so once again, you learn, you move on, and you wait for that opportunity to fix it.
If I wanted to start investing and I didn't know the steps and I saw all these people around me that were succeeding and doing great, what would you say the biggest pointers and tips are for people?
Let's go sit down and have lunch and have a conversation. I want to learn more about your experiences, because it's not a cookie cutter answer. I can't say, hey, Liz, this is what's going on. I need to know more about you. It may be that you're working 80 hours a week at 2 different jobs to try and make the bills, meet. And I need to know that context. Let's have a conversation. The reality is, maybe you're not aware of all of these areas where you can trim your budget to make your life a little bit better because, say Verizon. I can't tell you how many people I've sat down with and talked to them about their Verizon bill because they need the absolute max amount of data. But the reality is they didn't realize, even though you're using this data, you're sitting at home 90% of the time. What do you need all that data for? They could trim their bill $20 a month. Or let's talk about your car. Can you afford that car? Dave Ramsey talks about it all the time. If you own your own car, you're probably much better off because you're not paying $200, $300, $400, $500, $600, $700 a month. Well, what could you do with that money? It's almost like paying rent again. So it's really looking at the finances and being prepared to make changes in your life when it comes to those finances. On the flip side, maybe you're a multimillionaire and maybe you need someone to talk to about that asset that you have that you don't feel is performing right. once again, let's sit down, let's have a conversation, let's talk about you, because ultimately that's what the goal is, right? Is to find out how we can help you.
So if you are ready to invest and you're excited and gung-ho, is the first step to do a flip, or should I just put all my money into an apartment complex?
Depends on your risk. Flips are riskier than apartment complexes. You have to know how to look at that flip to make sure that it's going to perform for you. Whereas normally with the right partnership on an apartment complex, there's not as much risk. So once again, let's sit down and have a conversation about if you're risk adverse or not. We've had a flip that we made no money off of. We literally just wanted to get out of the property. We've had other flips where it was unbelievable. So it really just depends on your risk adverseness and what you really want to go into. Flips are a lot more work. It's not like handing someone a check and being an LP in an apartment complex where you get disbursements every month. You have to put the time and effort into it if you want to do the flip yourself. Are you going to contract the work out? Or are you going to do the work yourself? How long can you sit on that flip before it needs to go on the market? There's a lot of variable questions. What if the market shifts? There's a lot of varying questions there that you need to have experience to know and understand. And in our partnership, we understand a lot of those. But once again, it really depends on you as an individual. Let's sit down, let's have lunch, let's have a conversation.
Where do you see the total future of ROI in a year from now?
Without giving too many clues, I'm anticipating ROI to grow exponentially. We have a couple of deals in the hopper right now where I could have anywhere from 5 to 30 employees on the books inside the next year.
Well, congratulations. I'm excited for your future, and I'm excited to see where you go.
Thank you so much. And this is Kris with ROI Asset and Property Management.